You know how Democrats like to say that Republicans are weird? We're crazy, we're Bible thumpers, we're wackos, we're rednecks, we're gun grabbers, all those stereotypes that are stupid, by the way. But the Democrats are supposed to be the normies. Democrats are supposed to speak for all of us. Democrats are the one who, like, who among us doesn't like to dress up in the opposite sex's clothing? What regular red-blooded American dude doesn't like to dress like a chick? Like so-called Sarah McBride. Sarah McBride, of course, serves in Congress for the people of Delaware. Sarah McBride, about a minute and a half ago, was Tim McBride. Sarah McBride yesterday at the Hands Off rally that was astroturfed, paid for by gajillionaire non-government organizations and political action committees that were coordinated all across the country in blue states and blue cities. The hands-off protest against Donald Trump and Elon Musk. But Sarah Tim McBride had a really gross thing to say when McBride took the mic. It had something to do with some weird fantasy that Donald Trump will grab Sarah's junk. I mean, that's what I picked up from this. You tell me.
And we are here today because while we know that Donald Trump thinks that he can place his hands anywhere, we're telling him, hell no, hands off our Social Security, hands off our Medicaid, hands off Medicare, hands off SNAP, hands off our kids, hands off women's rights, hands off LGBTQ rights. We are here because we know our lives and the lives of our neighbors are worth fighting for. We know that our future is worth fighting for.
Well, listen, I agree with the notion of hands off our kids, but look in the mirror there, Tim. I think you and your party and your activist wing there, you need to start with the hands off our kids stuff. All right. So this whole Donald Trump thinks he can put his hands anywhere.
No, that Donald Trump thinks that he can place his hands anywhere.
Now, that, of course, is an allusion to the famous Access Hollywood tape that was secretly recorded and then leaked during the 2016 presidential campaign, the campaign that Trump won. That had Donald Trump saying something about going up to women and grabbing them by the and there's Sarah Tim McBride there evoking that and then throwing hands off, hands off, hands up. I don't know how to break this to Tim, but Sarah, you don't have a so there's no danger, I promise you, in Donald Trump trying to grab it. And what you do have down there, I don't think Donald Trump has any interest in. But there's something weird about Congressperson McBride. Congress critter McBride is kind of obsessed with themselves. Sarah Tim McBride just loves to set themselves up as a victim and be obsessed with everyone's attention on Sarah Tim McBride.
We will not take a lecture on decorum from a party that incited an insurrection. I appear to live rent-free in the minds of some of my Republican colleagues. I wish that they would spend even a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, thinking about how to lower the costs for American families. I wish they would spend a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, figuring out how to make government actually work better, rather than making it work worse in order to prove that government can't work. They are obsessed with culture war issues. The Republican Party is obsessed with culture war issues. It is weird and it is bizarre. And the American people deserve serious legislators, serious elected officials who are focused on bringing people together to deliver real results for the American people, not to play games and not to engage in schoolyard taunts.
Yeah, Republicans need to be serious like Sarah McBride. Conduct themselves in a serious manner like Sarah McBride. Of course, again, a minute and a half ago, this was Sarah McBride. Tim.
Cover my head, do it again. Oh, wanna be free, yeah. I feel the way I feel. Man, I feel like a woman.
That was back when Tim just felt like a woman. Now Tim pretends to be a woman. But Republicans are the weird ones. That's Timmy feeling like a woman and singing along. Then Tim decides to grow his hair out, put on a pantsuit, put on a whole lot of makeup, change his name to Sarah, and suddenly, of course, he's a celebrated genius of American politics. And then this weekend decides to represent the Democrats by suggesting that Donald Trump is going to grab him by his non-existent. Republicans are the real dangerous ones here. Republicans are the weirdos. By the way, this whole protest, his whole speech there, all the people taking to their streets, hands off, hands off, hands off our Social Security. These were absolutely clown shows over the weekend. But let me just say, if your parents, if your grandparents, your aunt, uncle, whoever are actually legitimately concerned about their Social Security and their Medicare or their Medicaid, could you please let them know if you're concerned about it? Don't listen to some drag queen or somebody who doesn't have the mental stability to figure out what kind of body parts they have between their legs and what they're really supposed to do with them. That's who you're going to get your political and governmental advice from about the future of your Social Security? No. If you really do care about this issue, can I just remind you what the president and Elon Musk have said over and over and over and over again about this very issue?
Look, Social Security won't be touched, other than if there's fraud or something, we're going to find it's going to be strengthened, but won't be touched. Medicare, Medicaid, none of that stuff is going to be touched.
Nothing.
You don't have to. Now, if there are illegal migrants in the system, we're going to get them out of the system and all of that fraud, but it's not going to be touched.
Social Security is not going to be touched. If there's fraud, if you shouldn't be getting Social Security, you're not going to get Social Security. If you're in the country illegally and you shouldn't be getting Social Security, you're not going to get Social Security. If there are people who have been who've been dead for years and we're still sending checks and somebody's cashing them and you're defrauding the federal government, we're going to take care of that. But other than that, if you are owed Social Security, you're going to get your Social Security. So what are you worried about with your hands-off stuff? I mean, I'll be honest with you. There are some Republicans who didn't like that Trump said that. There are some Republicans who think legitimately that the system is upside down and they have to change some of the actuarial tables. Maybe change retirement to 70 instead of 67 and a half. Maybe push it out even further since Americans are living longer. Considering 65 as the arbitrary retirement age was set when the life expectancy in this country was 69. And the life expectancy now is well into the 70s. And they've never changed the actuarial tables for Social Security to accommodate that. But Trump has maintained, no, we're not going to do that. But Musk. Okay, 2 weeks ago, Elon Musk specifically.
Doge will make sure you get your Social Security. Doge will make sure you get your Medicaid. There will be no cuts to legitimate payments whatsoever.
I don't know what to tell you. You can either believe the richest, one of the most brilliant men and entrepreneurs in the world who reinvented automotive industry and aerospace, as well as many other industries, who has been put in a position to be actually fix and find. I mean, look at the fraud he's already found in Social Security and other government issues. Or the president of the United States, who is a multi-billionaire real estate developer and businessman who has had an incredibly successful career in multiple facets of the economy and has run and won for president 2, maybe 3 times. You can believe them, or you can believe a dude who just a couple of years ago was going to American University singing along to Shania Twain about how he wants to be a woman, now wears a very tacky jumpsuit and has pancake makeup to hide his 5 o'clock shadow and pretends to have a voice like a white suburban housewife who says, hands off my non-existent. It's up to you who you want to decide to believe. I'm not going to tell you. I know who I'm going to believe. You decide.